So how much money do you need invested in order to live off dividend payments? That is the question that we're going to answer in today's video. And just quickly, for those who may not have heard of dividends before or heard of dividend investing, let me give you a quick synopsis. So dividends essentially are when companies pay out shareholders a percentage of their profits, usually on an annually or quarterly basis. Now, it's important to note that not every company that you can invest in will pay out a dividend. Generally, you'll find companies that do pay out a dividend are more mature in terms of how long they've been around, whereas newer companies that haven't been around for too many years generally focus their profits on reinvesting it back into the business, and a dividend is not on their top of their priority list. Now, a good way you can check this before investing in a stock is using a website called Dividend.com. Literally just put in the company name and then click on it. It will show you if it pays a dividend and what that percentage yield is. And as I've mentioned, dividend yield, what does that mean exactly? So you'll generally see an average dividend yield of about 2 to 4% for companies that do pay out a dividend. Now, of course, there are some companies that have a higher yield, but for the purposes of this, we'll be using an average of about 4% for our calculations. Anyway, essentially what that means is for every $100 you've invested in a specific stock, let's say it pays out a 4% dividend yield, you would get $4 for every $100 invested. Another important thing to know about dividend payments is that they're not 100% guaranteed. At any time, a company can choose to lower its dividend yield or just not pay it for 1 quarter or 1 year. Now, it definitely wouldn't be in their best interest because a lot of companies, people just invest in them for this dividend yield. They may not be too interested in how innovative they are or what they're doing in the grand scheme of things, but they just have a very attractive dividend yield and that's why they invest in them. So for example, if one of these companies suddenly decided to stop doing a dividend, a lot of money would flow out of that and it would really hurt them in the long term. So generally, it's in their best interest to continue the dividend payments and not miss any payments, but it is just important to note that they're not 100% guaranteed. So I'm going to jump into a couple of examples now, and if you do stay towards the end of the video, I'll go over some of the top 10 dividend paying stocks. So yeah, stick around for that, but let's jump into the examples. So let's say in the first example that you want to earn $500 in dividend income per week, which works out as $26,000 per year. How much money would you need invested? So what we're going to do is take our 4% average that we talked about earlier and basically calculate that back. And what that equates to is you would need $650,000 invested to get a 4% dividend yield, which would work out as $26,000 per year. And even at that, $26,000 obviously would be great to be getting that just purely off dividend payments. But again, it's not life-changing money or anything, but it is a lot of money that you need invested in order to get that. But now let's take a look at another example. Let's say instead of supporting yourself solely on dividend payments, you just want to supplement your income with about $10,000 per year, we'll say, which works out as just under $200 per week. In order to get this in dividend payments each year, you would need a total of $250,000 invested in dividend paying stocks, giving you an average yield of 4%. So again, $250,000 invested in dividend paying stocks will get you about $10,000 per year in dividend payments. And another thing to keep in mind about dividend payments is, of course, there will be tax due on these. This will depend on where you are living. For example, in Ireland, this will be based on your marginal tax rate. So based on them two examples, I think it's pretty safe to say you need quite a large amount of money invested in dividend stocks in order to be able to supplement your income or even get a living off dividends. But the aim of this video is not to dishearten you when it comes to dividend investing. I think it is a really good way to build some long-term wealth, but you definitely need a lot of patience starting out in order to build your portfolio up to a substantial size that will give you a decent dividend income. A lot of the apps that you can use, like Trading 212 for example, they have dedicated categories for dividend stocks. So if you're interested in making a portfolio like this, you can go to the search bar, click on dividends, it'll show you some of the most popular dividend stocks, and then from there you can click into them and it will show you the yields, etc. So handy little tool there for anyone who uses Trading 212, and it's on a lot of the other trading apps out there as well. And remember, you don't need to start off with these 6-figure sums. Of course, that's what you'll need to get a substantial dividend payment, but you can build up slowly over time, start to get your dividend stocks. You'll start to receive a couple of cents initially, then a couple of dollars in dividend payments, and if you keep that reinvested and don't spend that elsewhere, you'll start to take advantage of compound interest, and it may not be too long before you start to build up a substantial portfolio, giving you a regular dividend income. So for 10 dividend stocks that give a high yield, I'll leave a full article link down below if you want to check it out, but I've picked out a couple of my favorite ones from the list here, and ones that I have previously invested in or currently invest in as well. The first one here is Dow, ticker symbol DOW, and this gives a 5.1% dividend yield. Next up, we've got Verizon, which have a very healthy dividend yield of 7.1%. And this stock reminds me of one thing to note with a lot of dividend stocks is that you can generally expect the stock price to not move very much. But for example, if there's a $100 stock that you're investing in and is paying a dividend, it's likely not going to double or triple anytime soon. Of course, there could be outliers, but generally, as I said, when you're investing in dividend stocks, the companies are generally more mature in their growth cycle, and hence they've run out of a couple of ideas in order to how to reinvest their profits. So that's why they're mainly giving it out to shareholders. But that's just one thing to note there, that you may not see big jumps in stock prices if they are paying out a dividend. Another one on this list that I like and currently have a bit of money invested in is IBM, and they pay out a 5.2% dividend yield. And next up we have 3M, which if you've heard about dividend stocks before, you've probably heard this company mentioned. It's considered a dividend aristocrat because it hasn't missed a payment to shareholders in over 100 years, which is an absolutely crazy record. And it comes with a very solid dividend of 5.7%. So there's a couple from that list that I've picked out that I like and I've invested in before or currently am invested in. So definitely ones that you could check out. As well as that, I'd love to know in the comment section below if you've tried dividend investing and how you find it or are currently finding it. And as well as that, let me know what some of your favorite dividend stocks are. Maybe I've just covered them off with them couple of picks there, but I'd love to know in the comment section below. As always, thanks so much for watching. If you could take a second to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, that would be amazing. Appreciate it if you could subscribe as well, and I'll catch you all in another video.